and welcome back to Down South Philly Show, brought to you by Sports Lounge Media. Man, this is a special Christmas Eve episode. Um, I know y'all missed us yesterday at our regularly scheduled time on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we had a very special Christmas Eve episode. We had the whole Sports Lounge Media on. We had on our Christmas sweaters. We had on our Santa hats. We recapped the entire week 16. We previewed the big games for week 17. We had a ball. We even talked a little bit about some of our favorite gifts over the years, and it was a real good episode. Episode went for about an hour and a half. Just had a ball seeing everybody celebrating right before the holidays. Was good, Ken? Was good, Ken? I know this is a big game. This is a big game, and I know that y'all gonna be looking at this one with some close eyes in New England because it's huge playoff implications with this one, as you know, with a lot of other games that are being played on this week. But the game that I'm talking about, and I'll talk about a little bit more in the second half of the show, the Bills versus the Eagles. But before we get to that, we have to talk about uh, the win against the Washington Commanders. So NFC East divisional opponent. Uh, Kent Pat Talk says handle business. Yep, we got to handle business. We played the Washington Commanders in Washington. Um, Really, for us, it was one of those games that we just had to have again. Offense hasn't quite looked how we needed it to look all year long. Of course, we seem to have found something. I feel, in my opinion, since the Chargers game, maybe even a little bit um, in the Bears game, but definitely the Chargers game. It seems we're starting to find some continuity on the offensive side of the ball. We're starting to run the ball better. We're starting to become less predictable in the pass game. Mixing up our route concepts. The route trees are looking a whole lot better. Less hitches, more drags, more AJ in the slot, more Smitty in the slot. It just seems less penalties. So it seems like we're moving in the right direction. Um, I think that this slew of games that we have, starting with the Chargers, of course, after that we played the Raiders, just finished playing the Commanders. We have the Bills and then the Commanders again. Excellent slot of teams to kind of work on your offense because not really world beaters when you think about defenses. The Chargers probably the best defense that we've played in the past month. Um, but you got to have good defenses in there to kind of, that measuring stick. At the time when we played the Chargers, our offense was still in limbo, if you will. So we went back to the drawing board, fixed some things. Doctor prescribed us the Las Vegas Raiders, and then we go out there, we put up 31, we shut them out. Then we go to the Commanders, which is another one of the worst defenses in the league, where we can kind of, work some things out, fine tune some things. We seem to be finding our way in the run game. Saquon has had 3 games now where he's had a great rushing outfit. I think 2 of those games he eclipsed 100 yards. So he's getting back to the 24 Saquon, which I don't really think that the 24 Saquon really left. I think it was more so, one, the offensive line hasn't been very good all year, and 2, the offensive coordinator really hasn't been that good all year. Now, both things have been better as of late. So when we talk about this game in particular against the Washington Commanders, it started off kind of rough, not gonna lie. We fumbled our opening kickoff return. But defense holds it down. Defense holds it down. They hold them to a field goal. They were put in a terrible situation right out the gate, but they stood up and performed, which is all you can really hope for. After that, it really was no point in the game where I actually thought that we would lose the game. It really is one of those games where they were super hurt. we had a clear talent. It was a clear talent gap on the field that you could tell, and we took care of business. So when we talk about that game, I'm pull up the numbers. Eagles versus Commanders. All right, so Hurts had another efficient night. He went 22 for 30, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, sacked twice with a QB rating of 111. Um, Saquon rushed 21 times, which is that number. I say 20 to 25 is a good representation of the amount of touches that I would like to see. Merry Christmas, Daniel Barry. How are you on this fine Christmas Eve? Um, Hurts is getting back incorporated into the run game. He rushed 7 times for 40 yards, which will be crucial going down the stretch. We got Tank involved, 4 carries for 37 yards. I would have liked to see him involved a little bit more in this game because he really didn't get touches until the game was over. He kind of salted away the game with his touchdown. But you can just tell that he just brings another element, change of pace. For nothing else other than a change of pace, you get used to going against one back for the entirety of the game, and then you kind of can pick up on some tails and some things like that. But when you have 2 backs in there, they kind of keep you on your toes, keep the defense on their heels, and we can definitely do that if we implement Tank more in the offense. AJ Brown had another. This is actually one of the first times all year where AJ Brown had a good game and we won the game. So he had 9 catches, 95 yards, no touchdowns, but still, 5 yards shy of a 100-yard game. Smitty had a decent game, 6 catches for 42 yards. He dropped one touchdown, but on the same drive, he catches a touchdown, so that kind of evened out for him. Goddard added to his total. He had 3 catches for 32 yards, a touchdown, which brings him to 10 touchdowns on the year. Easily his best season so far as an Eagle, mainly because this has been he's been relatively healthy this season. So we all know what he can do when given the opportunity to be a ball player. He's gonna ball for you. His main knock has been his health and his availability. But when on the field, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Big shout out to Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, phenomenal game, phenomenal year. He had 4 solo tackles. He was just all over the field in this one. When we talk about the Commanders, Marcus Mariota didn't have a great game. He actually got knocked out of this game, but before he did so, he he went 7 for 14, 95 yards, no touchdowns. Got sacked one time, had a rating of 72, and then Josh Johnson came in, and the game was pretty much over with after that. We already know what happens when we play against Josh Johnson. When he comes in the game pretty much is over with. They actually had a decent running game. C-Rod went for 15 carries for 63 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a very, very good game. He basically was the highlight of Washington's offense. Bill had 8 rushes for 25 yards and a touchdown. That was really their only offense in a sense. Terry McLaurin had the one big catch against Adoree Jackson, caught him with his pants down. But overall, it was just 3 catches for 53 yards. With 40 of those coming on that one play against Adoree Jackson. Debo had another 3 catches for 35 yards. But as I said, as soon as Mariota went down in that game, for all intents and purposes, was over. The game itself, it wasn't really much to talk about. Toward the end of that game, when we score our last touchdown, we actually go for 2, which I didn't really agree with. I questioned that in game. I thought at that point we should kicked the extra point no matter how bad Jake Elliott was playing. He missed 3 kicks, 2 of them officially, but 3 overall in that game. And it's got Eagles fans ready to write him off. If you can remember though, he had a rough season last year down the stretch, going into the playoffs. Gets into the playoffs, one of the most accurate kickers, and you know the rest about him kicking in the Super Bowl and helping us advance to the second Super Bowl championship in franchise history. So I'm not too worried about Jake. He's given us our shares of ups and downs, but plenty of ups to think of. I'm not ready to write him off. He hasn't necessarily cost us a game, so I'm not tripping. We'll see. We'll see. We'll get to that one. As of right now, I'm saying keep him. Don't worry about it. You know, it just kind of is what it is. Everybody at some point, every part of our team this year has had down. So you can't just throw away somebody when they're having, a slump in the season. So I got all the faith in the world that he'll figure it out come playoff time. Um, but outside of that, it really wasn't much to talk about. After we go forward, that's when we kind of have a brawl. You already have tempers flaring because they were in their feelings about the 55-23 loss last year. So of course they were going to come into this game juiced up. Of course they wanted to get some get back, but they just didn't have the horses. And then for us to pretty much put the game away at the end and then go for 2, it kind of added insult to injury. I wouldn't have done it, but it just kind of is what it is for that. Um, got into a little brawl, a little scuffle. I think Tyler Steen got thrown out and 2 to 3 commanders got thrown out, but it was at the end of the game. Doesn't really affect this game coming up. So it just is what it is. You just kind of move on from that. Excuse me. The biggest thing about that game, honestly, was just the fact that we were able to clinch the division. Something, it's kind of whenever you want to have a successful season, this is the first goal that you have. So obviously, with that win, we punch our ticket to the 2025 playoffs. We also eliminate the Dallas Cowboys from playoff contention. They already had like less than a 1% chance. The only reason why they even had a chance was because we went on that 3-game losing streak. But hey, we get our act together. We beat a struggling Commanders team to win the division. First time that any NFC East team has won the division in back-to-back years in the past 20 years since we did it. And then when we had done it, that I think we did it like 4 times in a row. Um, so that was the best part about this game, is that we were able to get the dub. We were able to clinch the division. We were able to secure a playoff spot, guarantee us a home game, and eliminate the Cowboys all in the same one fell swoop, right? And then the Cowboys go out and they lose to the Chargers. So it really wouldn't have mattered. Now, one would argue that maybe they would have played harder had they had a chance to keep their season alive, but I don't think they would have beat the Chargers anyway. But we'll never know. They got eliminated before they could have a chance to keep their season alive. So huge shout out to the boys for checking off the first accomplishment on the list. Like I said, when you have Super Bowl aspirations, when you have aspirations for a successful season, this is normally the first box that you got to check off. Win your division, check. But we also got to talk about the Pro Bowl. So we have 5 players that were selected to the Pro Bowl: Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cam Jurgens, and Zach Bond. Now, where I go to with my question marks, Cam Jurgens has not had a great year, in my opinion. And I think a lot of, if you ask a lot of Eagles fans, they will say the same. Jalen Carter, while I'm not going to be mad that he was selected, 2 things about him. He's been injured all year for the most part. And even when he's been there, he hasn't been a Pro Bowl caliber type of player. Has he had some moments? Absolutely. But I would argue that Jordan Davis deserved a nod over Jalen Carter because he's been more consistent throughout the season, and he's been more dominant for a longer stretch of time. Um, Jordan Davis has played every game this year, if I'm not mistaken, and he's had great. I'm talking about a huge impact on these games. So when you think about some of the games where he's had the biggest impact, he blocked the game saving kick against the Rams, and then returns that for a touchdown. Helps us get a huge win over the Rams, who are one of the best teams in the NFC. In the When we talk about the Detroit Lions game, he batted down 3 or 4 passes, which helped us, keep them at a very low number. I don't think they got but like 9 points, maybe 10 points in that game. But he helped keep Jared Goff in the pocket. He helped speed up his clock, and when he did see somebody, he had the pass breakup. So those are two games that stick out to me. There was also another play during the Rams game where Jordan Davis runs down Matthew Stafford and stops him from converting a first down play, which I don't think he makes that play last year. You can tell that he came into this season with a certain kind of mindset. He came into the season thinner. He came into the season more focused, and it's been paying dividends. He's been one of the best players on the defensive side of the ball, which was very much needed because, like I said, Jalen Carter hasn't been right all year. He came into the season hurt. He was hurt in the offseason, kind of missed all of camp, and just really hasn't been himself due to those injuries. And you can kind of say the same thing about Cam Jurgens. Hasn't really been himself all year. Suspected that he's really been riddled by injury. He had a back issue, had surgery on his back. Didn't really get to have a full off season like the players typically do. But Cam Jurgens and Jalen Carter are in the same boat to me in that I'm not going to be mad that they were selected to the Pro Bowl, but it's just one of those where head scratches where there are more deserving Eagles than these guys. But hey, shout out to them, especially for Coop and Quinion because they've been locked down all season. Zach Bond has just been Zach Bond, huge fine. Second year in a row where he's just been, a continued leader of the team. You already know what you're getting out of Zach Bond. So we got two lockdown corners and a leader of men in Zach Bond. So huge shout out to these guys for being selected to the Pro Bowl. But they probably won't even get the chance to play because the Super Bowl team doesn't get a chance to participate in Pro Bowls. But we're a long way from that. But let's get to the last thing before the last thing. Speaking of Coop, he got player of the week. He's just like Jordan Davis. He's been consistent all year, locked down in the slot, locked down when he is asked to play outside in base formats. Excellent tackler, all around one of the best defensive players we have, and just consistent, shows up every week. Probably the best hands on the defense. I would argue that Coop has the best hands on the defensive side of the ball. Even with Quinion being locked down, he will break up a pass, but he just won't catch them. He got hands like a snake. But that's not the same with Coop. Coop actually just got a interception, which helped him get this player of the week on the defensive side of it. So he was the NFC defensive player of the week this week against the Washington Commanders, where he got a pick and some huge play, not only in that game but all year long. So shots out to him. Coop, was he a steal? So when we got Coop, it was at the top of the second round. We traded up, actually. We traded with Washington. Washington let us trade up to get the services of Cooper DeJean. If you can remember, the reason why we even had to take two cornerbacks at the top of the draft was because of how bad our defense was, specifically our defensive coverage. So we were one of the worst defenses in the league, and if you know anything about Howie Roseman, he doesn't let the same thing ail this team year in and year out. So what do? We go out and get Quinyon Mitchell in the first round. He actually drops to us at the end because I think we got him at like 18 to 20 something. I can't remember exactly what, but huge opportunity for us because we didn't have to trade up to get him. He probably was a top 10 talent. Now that you look at him, if you were to redraft, he probably doesn't make it out of the top 10, maybe not even the top 5, if I'm being honest. But he drops to us. Then we see that Queen Cooper DeJean is still on the board at the top of the second. So we have to make a move. We do. We go ahead and acquire his services through the draft out of Iowa. And boy, had these two been special. They just been the best compliment or the best testament to how good a player is, especially a defensive back, is if you don't mention them. And we rarely have to mention these two players when they're on the field because they just lock down their position. They lock down their responsibilities. So that allows you to, shade coverage to the weaker players on the team. That allows you to play around with things on the back end and it gives you puts you in a position to, send pressure if you have to. But now that the defensive line is kind of figured some things out from a pressure standpoint, hey, now we got the front end working with the back end, and we're becoming dangerous at the right time. So we have a great opportunity with 2 games to go. If we win out, we'll be 12-5 after a hard fought season. This is, we kind of let a few go, but considering that we had one of the hardest schedules in the NFL this season, if we were able to go 12-5, I think that's a huge feat. As it currently stands, we're in the 3 spot. We would definitely be no worse than the 3. Here's what has to happen though. We have to Not only do we have to win out, but we have to hope for teams like the Bears. We have to hope for the Rams, and I think it's really just the Bears and the Rams and the Seahawks. The Bears and the Rams and the Seahawks. If they can somehow lose out, that will give us a clear path to the 1 seed if we take care of business. So that's the first thing. We got to take care of business on our end. We got to win. We got to win out. We got to beat the Bills and we got to beat the Commanders again. So this game against the Bills is going to be super important, guys. Let's go ahead and break that down, that matchup between the Bills. But before we do so, we got to pay some bills. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Introducing Black Diamond Concentrate from Diamond Collection, a premium mineral supplement crafted to elevate your hydration experience. Formulated with no dyes, sweeteners, or artificial flavors, Black Diamond Concentrate is 100% natural. Just 2 dropfuls added to a 16.9-ounce bottle of water can transform the way you hydrate. Order today at poweredbytmb.com and use code DSP at checkout to receive a 20% discount. That's code DSP. All right, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the Down South Philly Show, brought to you by Sports Lounge Media. Make sure you hit that like button, drop a few comments, and as always, subscribe. We got to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a huge matchup with some huge playoff implications. Yet again, when we talk about, let me pull up some stuff. Obviously, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles are 10-5. We just secured the division with the win against the Washington Commanders. We got 2 more games to go, but the one that we're talking about today, the game against the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills have a record of What's their record? They got 11 wins on the season. Yep. So they got 11 wins on the season. They're in a battle with the New England Patriots, who currently have the slight edge over them. I think they're like a game in front of them. I think they got 12 wins. They've already split for the season. So really it's going to come down to these last two games. Patriots fans are hoping that the Bills lose out. Bills fans are hoping that the Patriots lose out, but none of it matters if these teams don't take care of business on their end. This will be a huge game for Buffalo in helping them in securing not only a better seed, but potentially winning the division. Uh, this helps the Eagles out just purely off seeding. We've already secured the division. By winning this last game. So it's all about seeding for us. As a matter of fact, if the Eagles don't win this game, it's highly unlikely that we um, suit up any of our starters in the final week of the season because we will be playing that following week in the playoffs. So it wouldn't really make sense. We would be our seeding hopes would kind of be over. We'd be locked into that 3 spot, so it really wouldn't be advantageous for us to play our starters next week. So with that being said, this is the game of the week. We're playing the Bills at 425. We haven't played the Bills since the 2023 season. If y'all remember, that came down to the wire. It actually went to overtime last time we played them, with the Eagles coming out victorious at home. I suspect that this is going to be another close game, but the keys to victory will be different. So here's some reasons why I think we have an even better shot of winning this game than we did in 2023. Um, I've had a chance to watch the Bills a lot this season, and in doing so, the rush defense has not been good. I think in all of their losses, two things have been apparent to me. They have trouble stopping the run, and if you stop them from running, then you'll give them fits. They don't really have a lot of weapons on the outside for Josh Allen to throw to. As a matter of fact, I think his biggest weapon on the outside is Shakir. Um, Two tight ends, Dalton Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Knox, no, it's Dustin Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Those are two huge weapons for him, but ultimately it really takes a superhuman effort on a weekend and week out basis for Josh Allen to win with this team. As it's currently constructed, it's just not a whole lot of stars. It's James Cook and it's Josh Allen. James Cook is having a phenomenal season though. So that's where the first key is. So James Cook right now, his stats, he has 1,500 yards on the season. He's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. He already has 287 touches on the year, with 12 touchdowns and 32 receptions. So he's definitely having a Pro Bowl year. Um, he's having a similar impact, nowhere near as big of an impact as Saquon, but for his team, he's having a huge impact on these games. And when he doesn't get a chance to show out, they don't win. So that's the first key. We stop the running game and we force Josh Allen to throw to these no-name receivers. That gives us our best chance to win this game. It's going to be cold. I think they said it was going to be in like the high 30s, high to mid to high 30s. Should be some snow, which we're no strangers to the snow by any means. It's going to be up in Buffalo, one of the last games that they're playing in Highmark Stadium, so they're going to be juiced up for that. But both sides got everything to play for. We got some reinforcements coming. Jalen Carter looks like he's going to suit up Sunday. We're actually getting Lane Johnson back as well, which I kind of got mixed feelings about both of them. I think that we should probably keep them out another 2 weeks, but it's kind of a catch 22 because you don't want them to you don't want them to be rusty going to the playoffs, but you also want them to be as healthy as possible because we need them down the stretch in order to be dangerous. We already know what we are. We are a better team with both Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson on the field. Both of them are suspected to be back, which is huge news for this game in particular. So we'll be as close to healthy as we've been in the past month. Um, and offense is starting to figure some things out. So on defense, like I said, we need to stop the run. And then after that, we just force Josh Allen to throw to these no names receivers. If they beat us, then that's another story. But I'm not too worried about them offensively. And defensively, like I said, it's all about our run game. If we can continue to build upon the success in the run game that we've had over the past 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be just fine because the Buffalo Bills are terrible against the run. Um, I need to pull up some numbers on this defense. Bills defense. So the defense overall ranks around the middle of the pack. They're about 15 to 20 in total yards. Um, actually top two in opponent passing yards. So that's their strength. Their strength is actually their pass defense. But the rushing defense, 31st. So that's it's only 32 teams in the entire league. So if they're 31st, that means that that's our goal. That's our goal. We need to run, and run some more. And not only with Saquon, we need to run Tank. It really, for this one, I know I said that the goal for Saquon is 20 to 25. This game needs to be 15-15. It needs to be 15 touches from Saquon and at least 15 touches from Tank. That gives you a nice change of pace. This is a soft run defense, and we need to go ahead and dominate, assert our dominance early and often on the offensive side of the ball, which will open up some more things, opens up the lanes for us to throw to Goddard and AJ and Smitty and the rest of the crew. The offensive line will be key as well. They have been better as of late. Still not back to 24 form. And at this point, they probably won't be. We got to be honest with that part of it and realize that they just aren't as good as they were last year. Now, you can attribute that some to injury, you can attribute it some to play call and whatever. This what we have now is pretty much what we got to roll with in the playoffs. So with that being said, I don't expect them to get much better but they have improved. They've improved from the first half of the season. So that's really all you can hope for at this point in the season, just to continue to build on that, assert dominance in the run game. Impact players gonna have to be the offensive line, and also Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are going to have to be stout in the middle of that defensive line. You cannot let James Cook get off by any means, because if he gets off, that just opens up a whole can of worms with what the Bills can do offensively. So that's the most important key in this game: stopping the run and asserting the run on offense. If we can focus on both run games in this one, we'll be in pretty good shape, in my opinion. So I gave you my impact player, which would be Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. Um, keys to victory, like I said, will be stopping the run, stopping James Cooks, and also establishing a run with both Saquon and Tank on the Eagle side of the offense. So other than that, I didn't give you my player of the game for I got to give you my player of the game for the Washington game. So in the game against Washington, the player that sticks out to me the most I guess we got to go with Coop, man. That's the easy answer. We got to go with Coop. He already won the NFC defensive player of the week. So let's give him the game ball today. Because his interception helped set us up in Commander's territory and give us the opportunity to put the game away. So I mean, he picks it off, we score. That's pretty much the end of the game at that point. So yeah, I give the game ball to Coop. I also will give a game ball to Tank for just staying ready. He didn't really get many touches. He hasn't really got a whole lot of touches throughout the year, but he's been very effective when he has had the opportunity to rush, and he took advantage of it this week. As a matter of fact, I think he had like 7 carries, and then one of them was for a 10 to 15 yard run in the end zone, which shut the door on any comeback opportunity that they had, which ended up being cursed because they got a cheap touchdown at the end. That if we don't score on that drive, things could have been interesting because they went for 2, they got that as well. But because we were able to score enough points earlier, it wasn't an issue. So game balls go to Tank on offense and Cooper DeJean on defense. Other than that, I'm excited, man. We got to win this one. We're in a tight NFC seeding battle with the top teams in the NFC. Right now, we're the 3 seed. We have aspirations of at least a 2. And if things fall just the way we want, we still got a small chance of securing a 1 seed. I think in order to do so, the Seahawks and the Bears have to lose out, and we got to win out. Yeah, I think if the Bears and the Seahawks lose out, we win out, we would potentially have a claim to the 1 seed. That'll put us at 12-5, but that also mean that 12 wins is the most win. Obviously, to get the 1 seed, you got to have the most wins in the NFC, which is tough when the Seahawks already have 12 wins, but they got some tough matchups coming up. They got a big matchup against the Panthers at 1 o'clock Sunday. And then I think they finish off with either the Bears or the Niners. I think they play the Niners. So neither one of those games are easy. You got a division matchup, and the Bears have been playing some really good football, and we lost to them. They ran all over us. So yeah, that's what we got to root for this week. Obviously, a Birds win. Well, a Birds win, and then a Bears and a Seahawks loss will keep everything that we set out to do in the offseason, everything that we had high aspirations and goals of accomplishing, still on the table. Everything that we want is still on the table. We have to put ourselves in a position for it to matter, though. Secure this dub against the Buffalo Bills and give ourselves a chance in the last week to secure some things. Of course, if the first seed is locked up, if the 2 seed is locked up, then we don't play anybody next week, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But until then, I won't see y'all again until Sunday. Yep. So we got primetime sports. Obviously, we got 2 games that day. We got the big one that I just covered with the Eagles and the Bills, and then the Sunday night game. Let's see who plays Sunday. Sunday night game is the Bears and the Niners. So we'll be rooting on the Niners to beat the Bears in that one. And then Monday night, we'll be rooting for the Falcons to beat the Rams in a huge upset. So that's cool. That's good. So we'll have the Bears and the Niners. We'll have the Rams and the Falcons, and of course the Eagles and the Bills. So the 2 games on Sunday: Bears, Niners, Eagles, Bills. Monday night, Rams and the Falcons. So we'll see y'all Sunday. Merry Christmas, and go Birds, go Birds. You'll see us Sunday rooting for the Birds, so stop on by. We got a watch party going on at 425, where we will root on the Birds as they take on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. That's my time tonight. Hey, I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. We got Christmas tomorrow. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays to you. And we'll see y'all Sunday. But until then, go Birds.